if this actually happened and what I'm about to go through in this story actually went down in real life, it would have been far and away the darkest, most just horrific day in the history of professional wrestling, without question. Alright, if this actually went down, the industry as a whole would have never recovered. So, in this video, I'm going to go through a story that is not fresh, it's not super new. This is a story from about a year ago now. In June 2019, this saw the light of day. It's a story which some of you guys have heard of, but even then, I'm not just trying to bring the story to you and that's the video. What I'm trying to do in this video is further raise awareness for mental health and whatnot, because it's genuinely a very important issue that still needs to be addressed, and it shouldn't take tragedies happening to address it. So in this video, I'll be going over, I can't believe I'm about to read this, ECW legend Tommy Dreamer and how he planned to murder Paul Heyman at WrestleMania 17 and then commit suicide on live TV. I kid you not. So this is something I've read over a bunch of times now. It's something that I've made the decision needs to see the light of day on my YouTube channel, to promote mental health, positive mental health, and show that this is what can happen and whatnot. So without further ado, I'm just going to read through the story. So Dreamer opened up on the House of Hardcore podcast about how he almost committed a real murder-suicide shooting in the middle of WrestleMania X7 in Houston, Texas, back in 2001. Many things led to Dreamer's deranged state of mind at the time, primarily ECW closing its doors in the latter months of 2000. Dreamer was a central part of the promotion and a key man behind the scenes, but Heyman's perceived lies not only played a role in ECW's demise, but pushed Dreamer to the brink. Dreamer had believed he was going to make his WWE debut at WrestleMania 17 during the famous Tables, Ladders, and Chairs match, but plans changed late in the day. Dreamer had turned down big money WWE deals during his time at ECW thanks to Heyman's persuasion. However, he found out soon after that the same man had been secretly working with the company and collecting a paycheck long before he appeared on commentary. While things appeared to be working out for Heyman, Dreamer was stuck living in his parents at age 30, and it appeared as though WWE had second thoughts about him. It took him to a dark place. And then there's a quote, "I remember I did a show there, and I saw a sign that said, 'Guns Welcome.' And I was in Houston. I did an indie show, and I said, 'What's this? I'm from New York. What do you mean, guns welcome?' And they said, 'Oh, you're allowed to bring a firearm into the venue.' I was across the street from the Astrodome." Then he goes on, "When I tell you it resonated in my head so much that I'll tell you what I wanted to do. It's sick that I'm botching this quote, I'm sorry guys, but you're getting the gist of the story." Then he goes on, "At WrestleMania, I was going to hop the rail and I was going to whack Paulie in the back of the head right at the announce table. Then I was going to whack myself. The ultimate martyr, I was going to hit my pose crack, boom, pull the trigger, because I was that insane. Don't know if I would have went through with it, but that's what I was thinking about every day. I was like, I'll go down in history. Pop, boom. First, they'd think it was an angle until I shot him. I was so severely depressed and so mental with rage, I needed help. It's impossible to know if Dreamer could ever have gone through with it, but a call from legendary announcer Jim Ross saved the WWE fraternity from ever having to find out. Randomly, I get a call from a number I didn't know. I didn't pick up, and I remember having these thoughts, and it was bad, he added. I had a gun. Man, could you think about the horribleness that would have done for my legacy? I would have ruined WrestleMania, which I love. WrestleMania, for everybody. These thoughts were so crazy in my head. How dare that person? He screwed my parents over, and I come from a mobster mentality. In my head, I was like, I'd become infamous, which is famous for the wrong reason. I'm glad I didn't do it. But when that phone call came from Jim Ross, again, just said, leave a message. It said, "Hey, Tommy, it's Jim Ross. Just wanted to let you know we're still thinking about you. We're going to get it done. Just hang on tight, so thank you." That phone call gave Dreamer all the reason he needed to continue and persevere. Fast forward 19 years later, and Dreamer has left a legacy in the business. Think of how stupid I would have been, how dumb and how messed up my thoughts would have been if they would have come to fruition. I'm so happy I didn't do it. I'm so happy that I did get that phone call from someone who was a stranger. I barely knew the guy. There was another day. There's been a lot of other days. So that's the story. That comes from Talk Sport, Alex McCarthy. That's a fairly recent, type up of the story. But Basically, in case you didn't get the gist of that, essentially, as I've just read over, Tommy Dreamer was in such a dark state mentally that he was going to perform or carry out a murder-suicide on live pay-per-view WrestleMania 17 in what would have been far and away the darkest, most bleak, horrible, all those kind of words day in the history of professional wrestling. The pro wrestling business would have been dead from that. That was obviously WrestleMania 17. That was the apex of professional wrestling. That was like the last hurrah. Pro wrestling's mountaintop was WrestleMania 17. Ever since, it's been in a downward spiral just organically and through some faults of WWE. But if Tommy Dreamer, heaven forbid, actually went through with this, and, all the dark thoughts in his head actually, made him carry this out, oh my god, I couldn't even fathom what that would have, oh my god, whether pro wrestling would be around today if that happened. Oh my, and really, seriously speaking, it raises the ever important point about mental health and how when mental health for these wrestlers especially, and just everyone in general, mental health is different for everyone in some way, whatever you're specifically experiencing and going through. This is an incredibly extreme example with Tommy Dreamer, which thank everything that's holy that this didn't actually come to fruition. This would have been, I mean, what's there even to say anymore? It's just, I would say, can you imagine this happened? But don't even try and think about what this would have looked like. Just don't even think about it. This whole thing goes to show you that no matter how much money you have, no matter how many subscribers you have, how many followers, how many views, how many friends you have, it doesn't really matter. It's about your perspective on things. That really is, at the end of the day, the main takeaway that I want to give you guys out of this just horribly graphic kind of story, that it's really all about perspective. Because in this situation here, Tommy Dreamer was so irate and in such a dark state of mind about Paul Heyman because of what Tommy Dreamer's lifestyle had to go through. Tommy Dreamer was 29. He thought he was having a good life. He had the women, the money. He had his wrestling. He had everything, he thought. But his mental state just wasn't right. And that's all it comes down to at the end of the day. Mental health greater than every other kind of health. All right, Tommy Dreamer wasn't all right mentally because of certain things that have gone on. And then what happened with Paul Heyman, where Heyman's getting money under the table from WWE, ECW goes under, and Dreamer finds out, Heyman's been running this ship, and he's known this is going to go out of business, but he's getting money under the table from the WWE. Like, he hasn't told me, he's a scumbag. I want to kill him. And you see this story, and he really goes over, as I've just read, the dark state he was in. Like, literally, the quote, at WrestleMania, I was going to hop the rail, I was going to whack Paul Lee in the back of the head right at the announce table, then I was going to whack myself. Just thinking and trying to fathom the logistics of what that would have looked like in the middle of WrestleMania 17. WrestleMania 17, the greatest pay-per-view in wrestling history. To think that could have been the worst, most dark pay-per-view in the history of wrestling if Tommy Dreamer went through with this, all because of the dark mental state he was in. And it goes to show you that, obviously, there's lots of scummy behavior in the wrestling business. There really is. There's a heap of that. This is just one example. Paul Heyman getting money under the table. Tommy Dreamer being in this state of mind. This is just one of countless examples. The amount of scummy behavior in the wrestling industry is absurd. But really, the takeaway, once again, it's about being aware of mental health, your perspective on things, raising awareness that this could have well happened and been the absolute darkest day and the darkest moment in the history of professional wrestling. So that's been the video. I would say, hopefully you've enjoyed, but it's not a video that's really made to enjoy or entertain. It's really to bring to light mental health and spotlight it because, you're all going through something. We just are. We're all different. You might be going through something that's, really bad, and, if you are, speak out. We'll I and a bunch of people, we'll try and help you get through it and whatnot. So, yeah, if you thought the video was good or whatever, like, comment, sub, or whatnot. It's not about that, but anyway, basically, as you guys have been able to tell by this video, I'm not doing a bunch of crazy editing with this video. It's just telling the raw story. This isn't the video to edit in a bunch of different upbeat songs and put a bunch of transitions in. It's just not. It's about Tommy Dreamer, the dark mental state of mind, what could have happened, what well could have happened if Jim Ross didn't make that fateful phone call. So, yeah, that's been the video. Like, comment, sub. See ya.